Rocky Mountain Sasquatch organization. I'm up here by Bear Lake. I'm up by a place called Strawberry Spring, and there was 2 Bigfoot sightings here in the same decade. One of them was a retired police officer that got stuck back in here, and he had to stay the night, or he chose to stay the night and dig out in the morning. He was stuck in mud and snow. And then a couple of hunters and their dogs camped right at this spot, and they claimed to have been harassed by a Bigfoot that chased one of their dogs back to camp. It was so aggressive that they actually shot at it to try and scare it away, which I'll give that sighting report video a little bit while later. But we come up to check out the spot, and this seems to be a territorial grove of aspens. We're at the spot where the hunters camped. Just 2 young guys. So we come up looking around, there's 2 Bigfoot sightings right here, one at this spot, and then another one off that direction, less than a half a mile. As a child and stuff, I read books about some of the researchers back then thinking that the Bigfoot, snapped these things off as high as they can reach and as big as they can break. It's like a territorial display of size and strength, and you can tell, these have been ripped off at the top, whether weather related or not. I know weather can cause these snap-offs, but these guys have a protection of a grove to help protect against the wind. And then aspens are the masters at losing their leaves first and gaining them last, so that snow load rarely plays a role in them breaking. But what's weird about this area where these guys had a Bigfoot sighting is it's about an acre of these snap-offs. Like 18 of them, and I'll walk through this territorial grove of aspens. That's what I think it might be. If these Bigfoot sightings, really did happen like these individuals claim in this area. I mean, do the Bigfoot mark these with all the snap-offs, showing females and rival males how big and strong I am? That one's about 10 feet up in the air. And we've been keeping an eye on this grove the last 6 years. We investigated these reports like 6 years ago, and then when we come into this area, and in just one small place, in exactly where the sighting happened, maybe the Bigfoot claims this area for a place that it wants to sleep safely. I don't know. But for the aggressiveness it showed towards the hunters, yeah, the hunters were sleeping on a tarp underneath their truck. And the Bigfoot chased their dog back to their camp, roaring and stuff at it. The retired police officer's sighting that was about, less than a half a mile that direction. His encounter was not an aggressive one, but I'll give you that sighting report later. His was non-aggressive. He also didn't have a dog chasing after it. I think the dog's going out into the forest after it is what set it off. Everything, no matter how gentle an animal is, it's going to defend itself. Here's a couple more snap-offs. When we come back here 6 years ago, there's been a couple of years we come back here and we find these freshly made. And so some of them we know weren't weather related because, we live in these parts. We don't live very far from here, from the Bear Lake area. And so, there hasn't been any bad weather. And you were up here a couple of weeks ago, and then you come up here and there's a new snap off, and we've had mild weather. So, oh, here's a good one. Oh, I walked past one to show you guys another one. You know, that one's a good 12 feet up there. But yeah, I think the big squatches, if they're indeed doing this, they're trying to snap as high as they can get and as thick as they can get. You know, that's like a basketball player of Sasquatch is jumping up there, you know, doing his 12.5-foot slam dunk to grab a hold of that and then yanking it over. And look at the top of this. I mean, this is really slender, not very heavy stuff for as thick as this sapling is. And Jenny's standing underneath the one that I passed up, running over to this one. So you can, you know, Jenny's 5.5 feet tall, and it would take another Jenny standing on Jenny's head to reach the top of that. And there's more snap-offs over that way, but we counted like 18 of them in here the last time we were here. And this is all within, like, I'm saying an acre, but I think this little grove's even smaller than that. It's probably more like a half an acre. And here's two more. One's a really old one, because this one has died. And then later on, perhaps, it came back and made another one. And then right next to that, another one. There's another one back over here. You know, we do a lot of hiking and a lot of searching for Bigfoot. You know, this stuff may or may not be weather related, but the weird thing is just all packed into one little area. You know, I could see coming through and maybe one or two of these in an area like this. And then when you get outside of this half acre, how come you're not seeing this devastation with these saplings other places, you know? Yeah, it's like 10 times the normal weather devastation, and a lot of the stuff you can see has just been twisted and pulled and really manipulated. You know, the weather's going to snap it one way or the other, and that's usually where it's going to sit. The weather isn't going to twist on the branches after or before it breaks. You know, in a lot of these we're seeing twisting. Bear Lake, Strawberry Spring, Bigfoot sighting hotspot, and what appears to possibly be a territorial grove of snap-offs. Alright, I hope you enjoyed. Keep on watching. We're going to keep on squatching. Northeast side of Bear Lake I'm on. Dirt road. It's a snow-covered dirt road today. Back when this incident happened, it was a snowy day or night also. This guy that's ex-military, now he's ex-police officer. He was a police officer in the state of Idaho when this incident happened, but he wasn't even on duty. He was just up in his small two-seater truck, one of those Chevy Love type trucks. He got stuck in the snow. He's digging himself out, this and that, and knew it was going to be quite a job to get dug out. So he finally just gave up and decided to finish digging himself out. In the morning, he proceeded to go to sleep in the front of his vehicle. Well, sometime in the middle of the night, seen a creature walking across the road towards his truck, very slowly, cautious and carefully. A big, like 7-foot hairy creature. Because of the snow conditions, it kind of lights things up at night, and so he got a pretty good look at it coming towards him. Well, he slowly grabbed his 9mm that was in the car with him and just laid it across his chest, ready to use it if he had to. The creature come up near his vehicle, kind of checking out his vehicle, and then it went right to the spot where he had relieved himself a couple of times. This guy had to get out a few times in the night, within about 10 feet of his truck. Well, this huge hairy creature got down on all fours and sniffed where he had peed. Sat there and sniffed it. and then it got up and the creature relieved itself on top of where this guy's urine was, and then it made its way out into the woods. Well, after seeing that, he pretty much stayed up the rest of the night with his 9mm across his chest, and then in the morning he dug himself out and left. Happened in the late 90s as the story goes. He was afraid to talk about it until he retired from the police force. It's amazing how many military or police people won't tell of a story while they're still working. They don't want to risk losing their career over a sighting. I wish it wasn't that way. I found the dirt road he was stuck on. I actually have been up here several times checking the area out where he got stuck. Today I thought I would share that story with you guys that happened in the late 90s. So some sightings back here, and the one that compelled us to come back here the most was where a couple of guys were up here in April. This is where they camped, and I'll walk around their campsite a little bit. But it started raining, whatever, 2 in the morning, and these two guys stopped here with their hunting dogs. They slept under their truck. They threw a tarp under the truck and their sleeping bags and laid right under the truck, kind of right where I'm standing. About an hour after they were laying there, their hunting dogs took off up into the brush after a creature that they could hear out there. Actually, they sicked their dogs on it. They could hear it and it woke them up, and the dogs were freaking out. And these are hunting dogs. I'm talking bird hunting dogs, but hunting dog's a hunting dog. They sicked their dogs on the creature out there. Well, it started growling and roaring and screaming, and it chased the dogs right back to them. Their 2 dogs that they'd never seen scared before were rolling around at their feet. They shot a bunch of shots up in the forest because it charged right to the tree line, right out of their eyesight, but they could see the shadow of this Bigfoot creature. They drove it off shooting and stuff, and then their dogs sat and whimpered the rest of the night. They made a campfire. They didn't have a campfire at that point in time, and Jenny and I have been to this area quite a bit, and what compels us to come back is the physical evidence that we found that backs up their story. And I'm going to start right inside their campsite. We found a territorial grove of aspens that have snap-offs anywhere from 7 to 10 feet. Some of them are even 12 feet up. It took a big creature to jump up and snap these massive aspens off. I've been watching this location for several seasons now, and this is a kind of a territorial marker, these snap-offs. And this one isn't that impressive. I mean, it's a good 8 feet up there. It's only 2.5 inches in diameter. I mean, you try jumping up on an aspen and snapping it off that far. But you say it's a coincidence, it's the weather, blah blah blah, this and that, but just look, it was ripped off up there. That's ripped and torn and twisted and stuff. But about an acre of aspens that have been just snapped and shredded. There's an old snap off right in front of me. Jenny, will you come and stand under these snap offs? And Jenny's like 5'3", so that's over twice her height. That's like an 11-foot snap off, and then that's like a 4-inch to 5-inch diameter tree. One right here to the left of me, that one's not quite as high. Another snap off right here. Here's the whole tree that got snapped off right there. That's an old one. It got snapped off and then the tree grew off that way. There's one that just got bent over. It was trying to snap this one off and it just bent it over. Right here's one that it just about got snapped off and just bent over. We counted, the last time we were out here, we counted 24 inside of an acre. I mean, it's just not, that's just can't be a coincidence. Here's 2 right here in front of me. Will you stand in between these 2 right here, Jenny? Okay, the one right there. And then there's one more. Will you point it or touch the other one, Jenny? This one? Yes. So the viewers can see it. There's one right here. Yeah, there's another one back here. Boom. Right back there. By the way, me and Jenny have heard some weird whistles since we've been back in here today. Hopefully the camera will pick those up. Oh, look at these 2 right here. One of them's from this spring. And look, I mean, something's been showing a display of power through here. It's either like a fighting location. Look at the snap-offs right there. There's 3 of them right next to Jenny.
And there's one back there. Oh, no.
Will you touch each one of them? The bend over and then the one that's been bent over and...
This one.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they might not be able to pick them out. I know viewers can pick out Bigfoots left and right, but these snap-offs scared me. I wonder if there's something up on the hillside right there.
That one right back in there.
Oh yeah, that one too. And this one's been bent over. Look, this one's been torn over. I mean, something comes through here like every spring or every other spring. There's a whole history of them here. Look at those 2 right there that Jenny's walking under.
And this one still has leaves.
We've been watching this place for a while.
There's 2 more back here.
And oh, there's one back there by the pine tree. And I'm sure we're not going to be able to find them all for you guys. This territorial grove of snap-offs. But now you see why the guys and their dogs got harassed. You know, Bigfoot's like, oh, people are a lot like us. Why don't they understand this is my place? I marked this off. They got to come in and do their special Bigfoot juju to win this place for me, and they didn't. So he come in and ran them off. Tried to anyway. They still finished out the night. They're pretty brave guys. At least they said they did. See that snap off right there? I mean, you guys, I don't know if you guys are seeing what we're seeing, but there's a bunch of destruction where they've been pulled over to the side, snapped off, and these are like twisted, ripped snapped offs.
There's a path that goes clear back up into there where they're all just ripped off.
Yeah, we followed that path before too. But yeah, there's a path that goes that way.
There's a bunch of them.
There's a spring not too far from here, and I think this territorial grove is claiming the spring and all the animals that come and going forth from it. And then there's a spring here called Strawberry Springs, and it's called Strawberry Spring for a reason. It's because the strawberries grow here.